What's happening, boys? She's alright?
No.
No.
So,
Fantastic, eh?
great news. Hearts have ruined our lives. Fucking welcome back to This Is My Suicide podcast. We would take it in turns, drinking fucking cyanide. Jesus Christ. What is the world coming to? Oh, where do you even start with that?
Well, I think what we're going to have to do is actually look for a new sponsor. Maybe something like, some form of call-in centre that can support men through mental health.
Gee.
I
Well,
don't drink during the week.
I've no drank since 2012 and I'm seriously contemplating it. Well, for the people that are joining us, thanks for joining us. We obviously will try and go through as much of your reactions to that as we can. We'll go through social media as well. For anybody that's tuning in that doesn't know, it finished Brora Rangers 2, Hearts 1. The first time in Hearts history we've lost to a Highland League team. For the second time this season, we've been knocked out of cup competition by a part-time outfit. Where do we even start? There's no point talking about the game. The game was absolutely pathetic. Not unsurprising though. We've spoken about it before. We were playing against a team that played one game in December, one team in January, and haven't played since. The manager was phoning and tweeting and texting folk to say, I'm back saying the exact same thing. Let Hearts have the ball, apply a tiny bit of press, and watch the fuckers run out of ideas. And that's exactly what happened. Shambles from start to finish. Ross Stewart, cheesy knob, cheesy whatever you're fucking called, you can go home. You don't need to stay.
Nope.
You don't have a future at Hearts. He did four things: pick the ball out the net, give
Nice.
away a penalty, pick the ball out the net again. He almost gave away another goal, didn't he? Flapped it across. He can beat it. Christoph Berra, thanks for whatever you want, but you can leave too. And then the rest of them are just a shambles. Absolute shambles. So, boys, we'll not talk about the game. Where do we go from here? Is that the worst result in the club's history?
Yeah, I'd say so. And
I think it's a simple answer.
a direct answer to your question, where do we go from here? We go to the airport to hire a bigger plane.
Yes. Is there any point? Do we getting Robbie out solves one problem? The whole route and the systematic failure of Heart of Midlothian Football Club starts with hand budge and our pals in the boardroom and filters its way down. I just tweeted 5 minutes ago. Anne Budge said 20 days ago that Robbie Nielsen is here for 3 years. He's in safe hands and Hearts are in safe hands and she wants 3 years out of him. 20 days later, we have drawn with part-time Arbroath and we have now been beaten by part-time Highland League Brora Rangers. And that, without going into the ins and outs of it, sums up every single thing that is wrong with Heart of Midlothian Football Club. George Burley was sacked by Vladimir Romanov as the manager of Heart of Midlothian Football Club because he was happy with a draw at Celtic Park. Vlad said, no, that's not what I'm here for. We're not here to pat each other in the back because we've got a draw at Celtic Park. And he sacked him. Probably the best manager we'll ever have. Robbie Nielsen has, in his tenure as Hearts, overseen us lose to Burkacara. Were they from Greece or something, Kev?
Malta.
Malta.
In Malta.
My cousin, my mates, actually, a couple of my mates actually done that trip. They must have went through like 6 different airports to get there, and they said it was a great trip there. The only problem they had was they came back to watch the second leg.
They watched Hearts.
And friend of the show, Craig Cairns, has just put that in the group, not in the group chat, in the live chat as well. Worst result in our history, maybe other than than against that Maltese team. I can't even be arsed spelling. So, Craig, everybody is agreeing with you, and also Laurie. Keep your comments to yourself. Laurie Dunsire, again, friend of the show, is commenting saying we're still 16 points ahead at the top. Laughing, crying emoji.
Is that just because he never got invited on the night's actual live reaction? Is that why he's just chucking his?
He's trying to keep his job. He's trying to keep his job. That's all he's doing. It's a COVID world out there. You can't be going about getting sacked. He's got to toe that line. But in all seriousness, without being Hearts historians, going through the worst results in the club's history, Alloa had never beat us in a competitive match in their whole entire history of Hearts. Robbie Nielsen lost to Alloa in the League Cup this season. We've never lost to a Highland League team, as I said. We've just lost to Brora Rangers. And it was 1975 the last time Arbroath managed to take a point off Hearts. They took a point off us on Saturday. You can't survive that. You can't. If the football club has any ambition whatsoever to be anything other than mediocre yo-yo football club, we've got to get rid of Budge, our pals, and we have to get rid of Robbie Nielsen.
No arguments.
We know that's not going to be the case, though.
Can't
We
argue.
know, unfortunately, I've got a total dread feeling that obviously we know Budge is planning on going in the summer, but she's only going from one CEO position to be a CEO in another. And I've got a horrible feeling. You like to think that after all the grief that she got, that the staff got because they kept on to Levine for so long, that she would see what's happening within the club and make changes. She won't. Absolutely. I think she really likes Robbie, and results fall by the side. That's their second string. They're not as important as keeping a good team together that she wants.
And I think ultimately, Brad's, you're right. But the difference now is that the fans are the people that dictate what happens at the football club. The fans ultimately were the one that drove Levine out in terms of showing up outside Tynecastle. Even though she didn't want to, it forced her hand and she had to get rid of him. Today, for me, and I think by going on the Roasting Hot Hearts Twitter, today's the jumping off point for everybody. You won't, as a club, we can't accept what's happened tonight. There has to be some form of repercussions to that result. Tam?
Just think it's really time for Savage and Jeffries to step up. If we're saying Budge want to do it, they've came in to run the footballing side of things. They surely have to take that sort of commitment and actually push for that, because it's just not acceptable. It's done now. He's never going to win back the fans on the basis of that. So there you go.
Aye, and again, the whole. If you actually look at this, it's definitely Mike Ashley with Steve Bruce, for example, Ando, your neck of the woods. The fans are demanding that Bruce goes, but the fans ultimately, they buy season tickets, they buy merch, all that sort of stuff. They're between a rock and a hard place with Mike Ashley. We're different. We're actually the lifeblood of our football club. We donate £1.5 million a season nearly with the Foundation of Hearts pledges. We have the democracy of being able to vote on and off people onto the Hearts Foundation of Hearts board that subsequently gets funded into the football club. If that dries up, if that stops, then you're looking at guys like Stuart Wallace and the other people that are in charge of the Foundation of Hearts. They will be picking up the phone to say, we've had 200 pledge cancellations today, and every one of them saying the same thing. Until Robbie goes or you go, I'm not pledging. And the whole ethos of how we want to be as a football club is based on the Foundation of Hearts. So we're in a slightly different situation, and that's what I mean about what Brad's was saying there about when the fans say that it's time, then it's time. There's no if, buts, or ands about it. I think we'll see a change in tact from the fan base over the next few weeks in terms of chasing Robbie. Ando?
Well, you kind of just hinted on it a little bit, but just to bring up something that obviously people watching won't be privy to, and we're having a discussion before we went live, where Kev had made pretty much that exact same point that people will stop pledging. And what did Brad say? You said there's no way that you're going to stop financially supporting the football club, right? And that's part of the problem. How far does it have to go? How far does it have to go, and how bad does it need to get before good people like yourself, Brad, and everybody else that's out there putting their hand in their pocket? I know I'm in the same boat. I'm not going to stop my pledge, but there is going to be a watershed moment. I don't know if I've hit that yet. Absolutely, I've lost my my patience with Nielsen. Get him to fuck, but I don't know if it's enough to stop me pledging yet. So we're kind of in that null zone just now, where there's a lot of apathy towards the whole thing, but people are still going to contribute, and until that's felt in the boardroom, I don't know if there's going to be enough emphasis behind
Well,
getting them out.
here's my idea, and Kev, I'll come to you in a wee second, right? Here's my idea. What I would say to people now is I would never actively, because what Brad says is right, I would never actively tell people to stop pledging to financially support the football club. But what I would say is email the Football Foundation of Hearts, tell them that you are stopping your pledge, but your pledge money is going into a savings account. And when Robbie is replaced or Budge is replaced, you'll get a one-off donation of however much it would be that I would have been contributing anyway. Is the logical solution to that problem, because we're all the same. We'll bitch and greet and cry about this tonight, and we'll take the slagging, and tomorrow we'll come out and we might beat Queen of the South on Saturday, and we'll be confirmed as gone up, and summer rebuild, and come August when season tickets come back on sale and the pitch looks amazing at Tiny and we can potentially go back, every single one of us will go back cap in hand to Hearts, because it's exactly what happens when you fall out with your bird. You tell her you hate her, you pack your bag, you tell her you're moving out, you get down the bottom of the stairs, sleep on the couch for a night, and you're back up the stairs putting your pants in your drawers. I fucking love you, can I come back? Because that's what happens. We're all stupid. That's what happens, and that's what will happen with Hearts. So the only viable option I have for that is that you would say you actively tell people to start saving their pledges until Robbie goes, would be a semi-sensible idea. Kev, what were you going to say?
Exactly that.
Oh, good.
Actually, we're reading. Actually reading what I've got down here, noted wise.
Kev,
Exactly.
And then you'll get back in the main house, and you can stop podcasting for the dungeon. just say sorry, then you can get out of the spare room.
I'm actually getting quite used, and I feel like I've now been in here for about a year, because it's about a year that we've been actually doing this particular get together on a Tuesday night. I feel like this is now home. If I can I just need to get some homely sort of little candles or something like that, and I'll be absolutely sorted. But no, I wholeheartedly agree.
You boys are going to have to phone on my behalf, because I'm one of these guys that I'll end up phoning them, threatening to leave and pledging more money. So you'll have to pledge on my behalf.
You'll end up coming back with a £40 donation every month after telling them you were stopping your £20 donation. But it's weird though, because look, I've said this numerous times, and you boys can, and I've tried to hide it as well as I possibly can. I've never liked Robbie Nielsen. Right?
What?
Okay. And it's,
you've hid it for the podcast, to be fair, so that's been alright.
But I've been willing. We're all mental, right? We're all mental. Ando didn't like Boyce, but when Boyce started to deliver, we're all stubborn up until a point when things are happening in front of you, you just have to accept what's happening. And I've said it loads and loads of times before. Robbie delivers results. For example, if he sat down with Anne Budge before the start of the season, winning this season's Scottish Cup probably wasn't high on the list of things to get done. It probably was number one, as it says before, and I'm not defending it. Promotion, underlined 37 times, highlighters with Shanks written all over it, get promoted. That would have been his number one thing, and he delivers results like that. First time round, get us back to the Premier League, we got back to the Premier League. Get us in the top 6, we finished third. Get us into Europe, we got into Europe. Like, whenever he set a target, he's good at achieving it. That's fine. But everything else that goes with Robbie is like tonight, when it's something that's off script, something that's we were third by November or something like that. Kev, win it in the first league, the first season back, 5 undefeated. We ran away with third and then stopped. Wasn't a kick on and finish second. It was we'd finish third. We've done the job. Let's build for next season, and we stopped and we took our foot off the gas and we let thing go. So Robbie has a real habit of delivering results, which is why
or is it a case that he's been given an objective, and that objective is X, he meets X but doesn't want to go to Y and Z, he doesn't want to go any further, and that then says to me is a lack of ambition from that individual.
Yeah, and that's exactly what it is. But that's the reason why I've had it for the podcast that I dislike Robbie, was because you can't sit and argue about how bad the manager is when he's got a 63% win record or whatever in all competitions for Hearts all the time, because you just look foolish. But you can't defend Robbie now. And the other problem that we have, we might as well talk about it, because I'm sure people will be asking us as well. We have 2 very viable replacements that are doing nothing now that will get good jobs do we stick with what we have, or do we think we've got Alec Neil, who's out of a job, who's worked with Joe Savage at Preston. He's now just been relieved of his duties. He's obviously highly rated because he's even tipped for the Celtic job. And there's Derek McInnes, a guy that for 8 years has played in Europe every single season and has turned the Aberdeen that me and Ando and Kev and Brads and that our all life knew were cheating relegation because of Falkirk Stadium size, and turned them into the team that my dad and that knew for the 80s, and finishing best of the rest and doing well in competitions. He's sitting on his arse doing absolutely nothing. Are any of them viable, do you think?
Neil Lennon's not got a job either.
Get Neil Lennon. What will happen, right, is we'll get Neil Lennon and Shelley Kerr. That'll be what it is.
God.
And it'll tick off the final vanity list for Budge. Can get a woman in the dugout and she'll be buzzing. They'll have the curry shed, the 0% fucking alcohol bar, and a woman in the dugout, and she can leave saying, I have completed 2021 wokeism, and she can just ride off into the sunset.
I'd take Alex Neil in a heartbeat to your original.
Back off my tangent.
In an absolute heartbeat, I would have Alex Neil.
I'd take Shelley Kerr now too. I'm not even joking. Should
100%.
Can't be any worse than Robbie Nielsen.
Yep.
I think that a club of our size, and if we'll hope that he is, and Jeffries is there, and remember we've got the new CEO as well. Surely these guys are having to say, look, you can't survive. If Robbie Nielsen was any form of man, he'd resign tonight. Do you know what I mean? If he had any pride in his job, he would resign and say, if I can't get a team motivated to beat a team that hasn't played in 70 days, then a Highlands part-time team.
It's not just a pride in his own job. It's a pride in himself as an individual. I think if we were all in that same position and we were actually asked to take charge of the team for this evening, I think if we actually then came out with this exactly same result, we would go, right, sorry, that's just no for me. I think
this is a man that's been an understudy to Levine though, and that's stubbornness, and that I can fix it at the end of the day. I've got a bigger plan. One loss isn't going to make or break me. I've got a bigger objective here. He won't look at that. I genuinely don't think he will look at that as a bad issue, and that's why we keep seeing these bloody excuses week in, week out about the grass or the linesman or the referee or the wind wasn't in the right direction. He's trying to deflect everything. He's not going to take responsibility for this. This is the problem.
You look at the two cup games though, Bradley. Like, we've got beat off a part-time team, and then we've got beat off a team that goes for a kickabout with their mates on a Saturday. Like, that is literally the League Cup and the Scottish Cup this year.
Can you differentiate between which team is which, please?
You can make that assumption yourself.
Just going to step in while we've got a gap. The live chat has been going absolutely mental tonight. We've got quite a lot of viewers. I can sum up pretty much everyone with one phrase, which is get Robbie out. So apologies, guys. We had an interloper in the chat. He's now been booted out for his pish. But we've got some points being made. Fans of HMFC, I would still take Stephen Presley if we couldn't get Alex Neil. Now I think Stephen Presley's in a job just now. I don't know where. I also need to call out the same guy.
He's a steak handler.
Is he? Aye. Fans of me of HMFC. The boy we've just mentioned also referred to Nielsen as Jobby Nielsen, which made me laugh. So,
Big fan of
that. That's the standard we've got to in it. 35-year-olds and we're laughing at Jobby Nielsen.
There's loads of good stuff in the live chat, folk. Keep it coming. We'll if someone can come out with something funnier than that, by all means, try your best. But aye, the sentiments that are being echoed on the live chat are exactly the same as what you boys are discussing. Get Nielsen to fuck. And Alex Neil's a popular thing.
We did Pat Stanton because I love pant wetting. It's what I do every week. 3 minutes into a Hearts game, I'm on the group chat telling you how shite Hearts are. Literally, fake kickoff, I can decide whether or not I'm going to hate a game or not, based on what happens for kickoff.
No one else buys 365 pairs of boxers a year. Just you.
Just for Hearts matches.
Exactly.
But the thing that annoys me the most, and I know that there's two ways to react to things like this, because we all see it and people react to it in different ways. So you see a result like Raith Rovers at home, and some people say, oh, it doesn't matter because if we played for 5 more minutes, we would have won 4-3, or Jamie McDonald had a great game. And you're always going to have both sides of the fence. That's how football works. But when you boil it down and you sit back and you reflect, the warning signs that Hearts are going nowhere under Robbie Neilson have been there all season long. From the minute Josh Ginnelly went off at Arborough, 13 minutes into the second game of the season, we had no idea what to do, because all we'd spoke about pre-season was playing with pace, tempo and width, and the one person in the team that could deliver pace, tempo and width went off injured. We had absolutely no plan B what to do other than revert back to what Craig Levein taught him how to do, and the thing that he did all during his first spell is play possession football and hope that you get a break of the ball. And you've said it hundreds of times yourself, Ando, possession without penetration, and it's what we do. And people moan you can't sack a manager after 90 minutes and then 13 minutes of the second game of the season. You can't, but you can acknowledge that the mistake, the lessons that you felt he didn't learn from his first time, starting to rear their head again, because that's what it was like the first time round. Now, don't get me wrong, he delivered results. When he left, we were second in the league. I get all that, but there was loads of performances that were like that, where we were doing nothing. We were 1-0 up with 70 minutes to go, we shut up shop and we drew 1-1. Or we were 2-1 down, and instead of going for it, we shut up shop, so not to lose 3-1 and we got beat 2-1. And it's been like that all season long. And then the other things that stick out are, we've got Nandwili up front, right? He said, begging in the papers, put the crosses into the box and I'll score. Put them on my head. And the one person in the team that is good at putting balls into the box and crossing is Ollie Lee, and we let him go in the January transfer window. Like, it's stupid. We've got Boyce and Nando and a 50-year-old Stephen Naismith. And the other guy that's been scoring goals coming off the bench and actually performing is Craig Whiting, and we let him go out on loan. There's just so many silly little things. We've let Lewis Moore go out on loan, and we've brought in Castanier and Gary Mackay-Steven, who have done absolutely nothing. We've brought in McInnes, Handy Halliday, who's done absolutely nothing, when we have McGill and Cochrane, Anthony McDonald in the summer or whatever. All these guys would have been more than capable of doing what they do. So the warnings, this isn't a knee-jerk, the warning signs have been on the wall. You only have to go on Hearts Twitter after matches to see it. It's you know what I mean? For every one post about Robbie, you'll have the opposite side of the coin. So what needs to change? I know that let's play the game where we're in Budge or we're in charge of Hearts. What has to change? Do you change the manager completely, or is it something that runs deeper than just changing the manager?
For me, it's something that runs deeper than the manager. Like Neilson, for all his flaws, right? He's got results beforehand, and he played a style of football when we got relegated that I think we'll all agree was decent. I know you disagree, Corbett, in the sense that season wasn't one of our best, but I loved it when we were down in the Championship the last time. We were great, and some of the football, some of the results were absolutely brilliant. But you can't. He's not getting a tune right out of these players now. I would absolutely get rid of any non-hackers in that team. It's one of these ones where I think you have to. Whether Nielsen's the right man to do it or not, I don't know. But Nielsen out from my point of view. Burn the squad back down to its bare bones. Anyone you've got in a long contract, you keep because you have to, because you can't afford to pay them off. Everyone else get to fuck, and then it's a rebuild job. It's the same kind of thing that's going to have to happen at Celtic and Aberdeen, right? So they too have had fairly recent success. They're now fucked. They're in the doldrums. We're in the same scenario, albeit we've just managed to get promoted out of the Vida League. But it's the same. It's a similar sort of rebuild job that needs to happen. I wouldn't change the foundation of Hearts. Budge can get her jotters. She can sod off. But just get someone in that's a little bit more stable, that actually has, let's say, more of an emphasis on football rather than the business side of things. Now, I know that could be dangerous for its own reasons, but that's it.
No, but you're right. But again, what that boils down to, Tam, I'll come to you in a wee second, because you're the good point about Aberdeen that you can also use in a second. But I think the thing that's missing is you get football and then you have football business.
Yeah.
Now, football business can be as great as it wants to be. We can build brand new stands. We can have curry sheds. We can have 0% alcohol bars. We can have nurseries inside the main stand and all. That's all brilliant. That's great.
Or just none of that. That would be sound.
But no, but but football is the thing. You don't buy a season ticket because there's a nursery in the main stand. That's not what. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff on the business side of it. I care about the football side of it and what I watch on a Saturday. And that the correlation between that side of the business and that side of the business has been missing for years, because if you sat 18,000 Hearts fans down before the new stand was built and says, what's missing for Tynecastle? The list would be that size before somebody went, a 0% bar. It's like, it's just the correlation between what the fans want and what the business side want today is totally and utterly, they're no connected, and
disjointed.
That's why we've Savage and is it McNeil? Is that his name? Is that the guy?
Not to be honest with you.
Anyway, that we thought that they would be the guys. They would be the bridge between it. Right, Tam? What are you going to say?
Well, I just wanted to say, you said about changing off the park, but I feel like the right elements have been taken in off the park by Budge. Like, she's got Savage in, she's got Jeffries in, she's got the guy we can't remember, CEO in. Like, surely that's covering, but we need to get out of this mindset of settling for mediocrity. Like, we're Hearts, we should be the third best team in Scotland, or at least trying to be that, or even bigger, to be honest. Like, as I said earlier, we look at Aberdeen, they're sitting comfortably in fourth. They've got a manager who's done wonders for them for years, yet they sack him and get somebody else in. Like, we need to have that ruthless streak in us, and I just can't see it. Like, I just can't see it, because it's another rebuild, and how many was that be? 3 in the space of a year and a half, essentially.
Probably.
Maybe
slightly
and
longer,
I just can't.
Yeah.
I can't see it happening unless one of these people that I spoke about and takes that sort of chance to try and improve us as a football team, because we spoke about it earlier. If we're going to go up this season, where do we finish next season, realistically?
But I think it's beyond that now. Does it?
Yeah.
I don't even think Robbie can even look to next season after the results that he's had this season. Brad's what you going to say?
Just, I agree with everything there. And it worries me that we talk about another rebuild job, especially if you're talking pragmatically here about, and Budge's already spoke this week, that we're going to be working on reduced budgets. We're going to be, we're not going to. We've got high caliber players with us just now. Let's not beat with the bush. There's high caliber boys in that team just now that aren't pulling their weight. So we talk about a full rebuild. Who do we bring in? Like, genuinely, there's not going to be that many players scurrying about that are going to be free agents that are going to be half decent. It's going to be just bringing in more shite and more shite and more shite, and it doesn't change the inherent problem that is the person who's steering the ship.
Yep.
So I know we talk about a rebuild, but I think first and foremost it has to be a personnel change at the top, and then work our way down the team.
I agree. Ando.
This is going to be unpopular, and I'm absolutely expecting abuse for this. But do we, like? And the only reason I'm saying this is because Tam's just mentioned this is our third rebuild, I think he said, in however many years, right? Do we maybe have to face up to the fact that, you know what, we're never going to get back to that height? Is it now out of our reach? Like, so
It's out of our reach if the people that are in charge don't have the same perception in Hearts as what we do.
Aye. So by that point, I mean, the foundation of Hearts have obviously been bubbling along for a wee while now. Right now, Budge hasn't handed over the reins. Do we have any confidence that the foundation of Hearts are enough to get us to where we need to be? Is it something bigger than that? that we also need to look at. Is fan ownership the right way? I don't know.
Well,
are we looking for short of a Russian billionaire coming in? Like, is there anything we can do on that side of things that maybe needs addressing?
Well, the problem that we have right now is the whole "it's your auntie's got balls" situation in it,
True.
because the Foundation of Hearts have never had the reins. We've only been under the guidance of Budge now, so we don't know what the Foundation of Hearts would look like in a sense of running the football club. Obviously, people have this misconception of the Foundation of Hearts that suddenly, when the fans are in charge, we can, like, after nights like the night, we just send Stuart Wallace a wee email to say, "Oh, by the way, I'm Corbett for Bathgate, and I didn't like Robbie Nielsen. Can you replace him?" Do you know what I mean? Because that's not how it works. Obviously, we have to vote on who we want to get onto the board, and we'll only have a board. The Foundation of Hearts will only have a board member on the board, and they own 51% of the club or whatever it is, so that the club can never be bought without the fans being involved in the process. But Ando, I think you're right. And another thing, that we need somebody to come in and look at the shit that's in front of us now. Stop looking at what I'm sick of hearing Budge, Savage, Andy Halliday, Robbie Nielsen, Jig, whoever telling me that Hearts are the third biggest club in Scotland. No, we're not. As it stands right now, we're the 13th best team in Scotland, who have just lost to the fucking Highland League champions. Fix it now. And then when you've got the swagger and we are the third best team in Scotland, then you can say, by the way, we're the third best team in fifth, sixth, 12th, and now we've been relegated. We have to get rid of that thing, because it's like a comfort blanket, it's like a safety blanket. St Johnstone have finished top six 8 of the last 10 seasons. We've only finished 5. And we would argue tooth and nail that we were a bigger club than St Johnstone, who have won the League Cup and the Scottish Cup in the last 10 years, and finished higher in us in the league than we have in the last 10 years. We need to break the culture of this safety blanket that we're some sort of big Scottish power, Scottish superpower, when we haven't been anything like a Scottish superpower for years. And that's what needs. We need somebody to come in now, look at it how it is, and say, this isn't working. Stop planning for next year when you're not even doing what you need to do this year. Stop worrying about what's around the corner, and start worrying about what's staring you right in the face. Because I've said it before, and Brad's is right. We don't need a rebuild. With 5 international football players playing in the second rung of Scottish football.
Yeah.
If you're telling me if Derek McInnes walked into Hearts tomorrow, or Alec Neil walked into Hearts tomorrow, he wouldn't have us playing better football than we're playing right now. Of course he would.
I 100%
We're not getting the best out of the players that are there, and that is the biggest scandal of it all. Because some of those players are on ridiculous money. Gary Mackay-Steven chose Hearts because we were paying more money than Aberdeen could afford to pay him. Now we're talking thousands of pounds rather than hundreds of pounds. He's not on £1,000 a week. No chance. He'll be on £3,000 a week, £4,000 a week, potentially with bonuses and appearances. You've got Boyce, Naismith, Gordon, Smith all signing new contracts. Demure sitting on the bench doing nothing, or not even getting on the bench doing nothing. These guys will be on big money. We've got big problems.
Well, we'll take a break and go to the live chat. So, Rav Fermlin, I'm loath to call him a friend of the podcast at this point, but positive.
We like him.
We do. Big bastard that he is. Positives from this season: number 1, sold loads of Inverness tickets. That's true. No, number 2, had Twitter beef with our Arbroath fans. That's also true. And 3, managed to be a wee bit less shite than an absolutely awful Dunfermline team. Also true. Well done, Rav Fermlin. It's your first hat trick of comments. So absolutely correct. Kyle Bothwick asking if he can cry yet. Kyle, you can cry anytime you want, son. It's absolutely fine. And Craig Cairns, agree with Brad's. The players are performing well below their ability. We have decent players and we're shite, even when we win. Which is, again, no one's going to No one's going to disagree with you there. So, loads of comments. Keep them coming. Sorry we can't get through them all, but a few of you seem to be arguing amongst yourselves, and we've also thrown
That's
out.
the Hearts way,
We've also thrown out some wolf in sheep's clothing called Christopher Smith. You've also been booted for your shenanigans, you prick.
What was he?
See you later.
What was he saying? What was he saying? We can't hand it. We can't dish it out if we can't.
Oh no, we absolutely can. Is that it's just dropping in a wee comment every so often. Typical Hearts. They'll get promoted, and they're deluded if they think they should go to third place right away next season. Just stuff like that. He's doing it once every so often just to not appear on my radar. But I'm eagle-eyed. Chris Smith, sod off.
I will make a
fair to
point.
Chris Smith, we'll at the moment we'll definitely not finish third next season.
Well, he's right, but we after we've had the end of season and we spend the summer doing whatever it is we're going to do, we'll come back completely recharged for the new season, and every single one of us on here, bar Corbett, don't worry. I'm not tarring you with the same brush. We'll all be deluded that we are the third force in Scottish football. So he is absolutely correct. It struck a chord. So you're booted out, Chris Smith. See you later.
And
Stop telling the truth.
I know.
Don't you come on my podcast and talk the
this
truth,
isn't for the truth.
And like I've said before now, I meant it when I tweeted it on Saturday, and I mean it again tonight. Hibs, you should be embarrassed. This side knocked you out the cup, when probably your best opportunity to beat or to win the cup again, because Celtic were there for the taking, and it annoys me with every growing time I see Celtic play that's an opportunity missed massively because they're shite. And Dunfermline, Rafe, Dundee, Cali should be ashamed of yourself, because this Hearts side, Brora Rangers can show anybody can do it. This Hearts side is dug meat. All it takes is a tiny bit of pressure, and we've wilted for season upon season upon season, because whatever is happening in the football club, whether it's because they're not exposed to pressure or they're not maintained to high enough standards or whatever, but whenever there's a slight bit of pressure in this football club, games that matter are arse goes, and it's happened for season after season.
Has anyone seen, and again for everyone watching and anyone that's listening back to the audio version of this, we've not seen Robbie Nielsen's after match comments, but Davy McClure has put something in the live chat saying Robbie's after match comments, a whole load of expletives in that red angry emoji with a swear bubble in front of its gub. So we've not had a chance to read that yet. If someone can furnish us with the details, then we can maybe talk about that if we've got time. I wonder
Jamie,
what he's blaming this time.
My mate from New Zealand tweeted me and said, this was when they went 1-0 up, said, Robbie Nielsen post-match, Brora, you've got to credit Brora, they're a really good side. They haven't been beat in 10 weeks. And that's exactly the type of shit he probably says. Kev, do you know what he said?
No, that was what I was just going to point out, is that the Hearts Twitter page commented at 77 minutes, Mackay Stevens steps inside from the right and drills a low shot towards the near post, but the keeper gets down quickly to deny him. Well, from what I know, I think the keeper could have put his foot out and just stopped it quite quickly. They then put out a tweet 51 minutes ago with a full-time result and have not tweeted since. I wonder if things are being mentioned or are afoot.
Well, here we go with what we spoke about before we came on. SPL stats, this SPL stats page is alright, but the SPL are wanks, so I'll call them wanks anyway. They tweeted saying Queen Victoria was on the throne the last time Hearts lost to a non-league opposition in a competitive match, where we lost 2-1 to Queen's Park in the Scottish Cup.
Fucking hell.
In
Do you mind that, Kev?
in 1900. Kev, were you as angry then as you are now?
Wait.
I've got Robbie's comments here if you want to hear them.
Yeah, and sorry to Davy McClure. If I'd read your comments in the live chat, I would have realised that your comments were actually Robbie Nielsen's after-match comments. Brad, if
to be fair, I read them as well, Ando, and thought he was making them up. So
I know. I was like, you know what? It's like this guy should be working for a newspaper. Apologies, Davey, if you do work for a newspaper, but you're wasted if not. But yeah, so the comments. Sorry, Brad's. I'll go over to you.
No, you go for it.
No, I've been speaking enough. On you go.
So, comments from tonight are: we have remnants of the relegation season still there. We need to deal with it and get moved out. We can't deal with that tonight. It's an embarrassment. It's an embarrassment for the football club. I knew when I came up here I was turning around a ship that was heading in the wrong direction. We haven't turned it around in areas, but there's still work to do here. This should stay in the memory of everyone involved. It is something that we can always go back to if things aren't good enough. This is what happens. Pish.
That's just words coming out his face, really, isn't it? And a lot of it is probably in the interest of self-preservation, of him being able to say, well, actually, you know what, I knew I had a job to do here. I've not finished that job. Buy me a little bit more time. But that's fast running out for me.
It's actually deflection, because he's come in and straight away blamed someone else for the state of what the club was when he took over. He's tried to remind people how that the club got relegated, and he's trying to remind the folk that the players that got relegated are still there. Deflection. He's a wanker. I told you that before the podcast we started. The guy's an absolute wank. It's all he does. I hate the guy. I'm not even pretending anymore.
Stop sitting on the fence.
I cannot stand Robbie Nielsen. I hate him. Anybody that buys their suits out of Matalan can fuck off. Tam.
Just from those comments, it's March the 23rd today. Okay. Like, he's been in charge since, what, June, July, was it, roughly? I'm just guessing again. Summertime, basically.
Third podcast when Rab came on.
Yeah.
Fuck me, man. That's... Okay.
Right. We can't keep this going on all night. This is getting...
That's
getting depressing. I'm going to go cry in front of it.
I'd like to put a question out.
All right.
Okay. That's all right.
On you go.
We can just yes or no, everyone. Will we see a change by the end of the week?
No.
No, we
Thanks
won't.
for tuning in. Bye. No.
I agree with no as well. Yeah.
That's a shame. We're
should we see a change by the end of the week?
Yes.
We are at our peak viewing audience just now for the entire thing. So we've got over 100 people watching us just now. So cheers for dialing in to listen to our pish.
Share our pain.
No.
Thanks for tuning in to share our pain.
Mm-hmm.
We obviously, for the people watching this has replaced the podcast. We were going to podcast, and then Hearts happened. There's no point. I couldn't laugh about pubs in Gorgie that I like when we were getting beat off my gardener. So we'll maybe podcast tomorrow or Thursday, or we might do a special podcast when Alex Neil is unveiled at Tynecastle on Wednesday. Who knows? Who knows?
What's going to happen? What's going to happen, right, is Corbett's going to dial off this tonight, realise that he missed a golden opportunity to get back in the bevy. He'll do some sort of recording in his garage, and we'll make that available for you all to listen to. It'll just be him chatting nonsense to himself. But yeah, we'll
the thing that's annoying
try and
me
bring
the
you
most,
something.
and Budge is probably in the house watching reruns of last night's Line of Duty. She don't even know that we'd got beat because it was too far away and she couldn't have got with a blanket. So she probably doesn't even know what's happened.
Actually, let's do a podcast about Line of Duty because I have actually watched it. So that's probably better content.
Probably more interesting.
Anything is better content than this, man. Anything what following Hearts is the worst thing on planet Earth. Right. Aye,
before we go, just thanks to everybody. The comments have been too numerous to mention. Normally, when we do a live broadcast, I'm able to read out a fair few of them, but it has absolutely become mental on the live chat page. So, thanks very much for your engagement, folks. It's good. We've read out as much as we possibly can. So,
here's something for you to ponder until Saturday's live reaction.
God.
Robbie Nielsen. Okay, we've got to do it again.
No.
Robbie Nielsen is our Pat Fenlon.
Can we get that on a t-shirt?
Let that sink in. Robbie Nielsen is our Pat Fenlon. Embarrassed in Europe, shite in the league. There you go. Robbie Nielsen is Pat Fenlon. And on that
That could be
cheering
the first bit of merchandise.
note, and on that cheering note, see you later.
Cheers, boys.
Hey boys, gotta get off.
See you later.
See it.
Cheers.